Nikki Brar is an 8-year-old from Yorba Linda, California, who just transitioned their gender from male to female. Nikki had felt from a young age that she was born into the wrong gender, constantly expressing an interest in girls' clothing, girls' toys, and a girl's lifestyle. By the time she was 8, she was being beaten down by the feeling of being trapped in a male gender role. Her parents supported her and helped her transition to female, a transition which was filled with lots of confusion and bullying at school. School is arguably the defining institution of a young person's life, so when Nikki's parents felt as if the school committed acts of discrimination against their daughter, on top of all the hardships that she was already facing, they filed a lawsuit, as confirmed by the LA Times. The argument of focus here is not our personal feelings and opinions towards the LGBT community, but whether or not Heritage Oak Private Education committed legal discrimination. Most media I've come into contact with over the situation is not supporting Heritage Oak in this case, but I'm here today to argue to you the details of why they did not commit discrimination with legal facts and personal experience, being as Heritage Oak is my former school. So the two key points of the lawsuit are that Heritage Oak violated the Unruh Civil Rights Act and that they committed false advertising. So the Unruh Civil Rights Act is, the California state government website basically defines this as entitling all people to free and equal treatment in all business establishments of every kind, no matter sex, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, age, disability, medical condition, genetic information, marital status, sexual orientation, citizenship, primary language, or immigration status. The two key words to focus on here are business establishment. Because Heritage Oak is a for-profit institution and not a public school, they would fall under the category of business establishment. The false advertising allegation comes into play because Heritage Oak is advertised as non-discriminatory and that they educate the whole child. At this point, I would show a picture of the front of the school, which has a banner with the slogan. So the family in the lawsuit is asking for policy changes and that an unspecified amount in damages. This is a groundbreaking transgender case because it is one of the first transgender cases suing a private school, as stated by the OC Register. It is also the very first transgender case to use a state anti-discriminatory law for grounds of relief. Specifically, the lawsuit names Heritage Oak, their executive director, Phyllis Segan, the school's parent group, Nobel Learning Communities, plus the regional director of Nobel Learning Communities, Kate Taylor. So Nikki had begun second grade with the school fully aware that she was figuring out her gender identity. By November, when she wanted to fully make the transition to female, they asked the school to let her use chosen pronouns, wear a girl's uniform, and use the bathroom of choice. The school could only immediately respond by letting her access the female part of the dress code by growing out her hair and using fluid pronouns, I guess, like their, or not gender-specific pronouns. The school hired an outside consultant to be put on a retainer to guide them through these changes that they had never seen before. So, in most articles that I've read, the fact that they let her grow out her hair gets glossed over very easily, but it's worth noting that the part of the school's dress code is for boys to have a very clean-cut haircut. The rules pertaining to haircuts are very, very strict. So I think it was a huge outward expression of gender identity for Nikki and a huge step that the school had taken in letting her grow out her hair. I also want to take a moment to talk about the uniform part of the dress code. The only part of the Heritage Oak dress code that is distinctly female is the option to wear skirts. Boys and girls have access to, I believe, unisex shorts and pants. If they're not unisex, they look pretty unisex. The polo shirts are exactly the same besides coming in a boys and girls cut. So the options between male and female are basically only the skirts. So in January, they came to the decision that they would not let Nikki access the girls' uniform and that she could have access to the staff bathroom instead of being able to use the female bathroom. In February 2017, her parents rejected these changes and pulled her out of the school. Next upcoming school year, she will begin at a public institution in Orange County that will not be named. Her parents asked from the school to incorporate a transgender curriculum, that Nikki and other transgender students be allowed to use bathrooms of their choice, and they alleged that the school did not allow her to use her full name, but there's an academic rule that states that the child must be documented as the name on their birth certificate, which means, for instances, like a roll call sheet or official testing forms, that it would be her male name, but socially she'd be allowed to use her female name, just like any other child would be allowed to use their nickname. At one point in time, Yorba Linda, California was the city with the highest amount of churches in the U.S. The median household income is over $100,000, according to datausa.com. It is one of the most conservative cities and already extremely well off in conservative county. At this point, I show a graph showing percentages of conservatives in Yorba Linda and Orange County, as well as income in Yorba Linda and Orange County. So having her parents ask for transgender curriculum to be put into the school in one of the most conservative cities in an already conservative county would have been absolutely ridiculous. Parents would have had a field day and would have filed so many complaints about the school if they had allowed that to happen. So there's no way the school could have input that. So as I stated before, I went to this school from kindergarten to 8th grade. I know Phyllis Segan personally, as well as the rest of the administrative staff at that school. They are all amazing faculty who genuinely want what is best for every child at this school. The reason they were taking such slow steps with Nikki is because they had to keep in mind the impact that it would have in the very small social bubble of the school, which I reiterate is already in the very small conservative bubble of Orange County. I can guarantee that Heritage Oak had no ill will against this child and did not discriminate against her. They were taking slow steps and showed initiative by hiring an outside consultant. They genuinely want what is best for this child and were taking the steps to start that process.